Okay, so in my opinion, the easiest ways to start dressing better is by cutting out the things that you shouldn't be wearing in the first place. So today, that's exactly what I'm going to be going over. The 5 things you need to stop wearing. Now look, I don't like telling people what to wear, which is kind of funny because that's the entire point of this channel. So of course, don't get offended if you're wearing any of these things. This is just my personal opinion. For example, the first one on the list that you need to stop wearing immediately is going to be stop wearing so many logos. Now that doesn't mean cut out every single logo, but if you're wearing heavily branded clothes, in my opinion, that could just come off as tacky. Like you're trying too hard to flex what you have. And at the end of the day, I personally like my outfits to be a lot more simple. And you can't really do that with huge logos. Now, of course, like I mentioned earlier, you don't have to cut this out completely. But if you're wearing logos every single day, just to prove that you have these brands in the first place, it honestly just comes off the wrong way. So I personally just wear it here and there. If I do want to wear logos in the first place, I prefer smaller logos. But most of my things that I wear is going to be very minimal with little to no branding. And at the end of the day, I feel like this just looks a lot better because there's a lot of brands out there that have their logo slapped on everything. Lately, I have been liking Abercrombie and Fitch, but let's be real, a lot of those pieces have their logo on it. Same thing with Hollister. But brands like Zara or Uniqlo don't really have logos on their clothes to begin with. I think these stores are a lot better option if you're trying to go this more simplistic route. So if you want to take this advice, I think these 2 stores are going to be the best place to do so. All right, the second thing you need to stop wearing is Air Force Ones. Now, before you get mad, just know I probably will never completely stop wearing Air Force Ones, but what I will say is as soon as they start to get too beat up, I'm going to be throwing them away. Now, to this day, I'm still a victim of this. I never know when it's time to throw them out. But let's be real, when it comes to Air Force Ones, once they get too beat up, there's literally no going back. You can clean them, but they're never going to get the original shape back. And a side-by-side comparison, these are 2 completely different shoes. I have mine right here. They're way too beat up. Honestly, they don't look that bad in camera, but in person, this crease right here, the entire shape of the shoe, it's gone. It's time to get rid of those. I'm going to be buying a new pair very soon because I can never completely stop wearing them. They're just such a classic shoe. They go with everything. But once they get too beat up, I know as of right now, it's time to throw those out. All right, the next one is going to be a little confusing because it's not something that you should stop wearing, but it's something that you should stop not wearing, if that makes sense. And that's going to be a watch, because this year I'm going to be heavy into watches, starting to build my watch collection up, and that's because now I'm starting to fall in love with them. And if you watched my channel before, you would know once I get into a collection, that's all I talk about for the time being. Just get ready to start hearing a lot about that right now. But one thing I will say is I wish I got into watches a lot sooner. That being said, every single time I look at a nice watch, the first thing that throws me off is going to be that price tag. But I quickly found out that watches don't have to be crazy expensive, and you don't have to sacrifice price to get a really high quality watch, especially from today's video sponsor, Sega Design. Now, the watch that I have been wearing from Sega Design is going to be from their Blue Planet series, and it's exactly what it sounds like. The design of the watch is inspired by the first picture ever taken of the actual Earth, so having that on your wrist is really cool to me. But before we get into the actual design, let's talk about Sega Design. This is the first Chinese watch brand to have won the GPHG award in 2021, which is pretty much like the Oscars of watchmaking. So yeah, one of the biggest ceremonies in the world for watchmaking. It even beat Swiss watches, which is a really big deal if you know about watches. And this year in 2022 has been collected in the Museum of Art History. So yeah, that's pretty crazy for a watch. And just looking at the watch itself, you can tell why those things happen in the first place. But if we take a deeper look into the actual watch, the way the dials rotate makes it very easy to tell the time, because with one indicator, you can see the time and hour at the same time, because the minute hand rotates as well. And the actual design, I really can't get over the fact of having the world around your wrist. To me, that's honestly very unique. Really can't see that anywhere else. And I still can't get over the design of the actual Earth. Every part of land in the continents has shapes from the mountains of the actual world. So yeah, there's so much attention to detail going into this watch. But even with all that, it still looks very sleek and minimal. And one of my favorite parts has to be the clear back. In the back, you can see all the mechanics moving around. And honestly, the more I get into watches, the more I love that. So if you want to pick up one of these award-winning watches, make sure to check out Sega Design. The links can be the first one in the description. Like I said, getting into watches doesn't have to be crazy expensive, and for the price, this is probably going to be one of the highest quality ones you can get. All right, the next thing that you need to stop wearing is going to be biker jeans. Now, first of all, I'm glad that I don't really see these as much as I used to back then, but especially when I was younger, when I was like 14, 15, everyone was wearing these biker jeans that had the little folds on the knees or wherever they would be at. Now, the thing is, at the time, I didn't really have a lot of money, so when I asked my parents to buy them for me, they immediately said no. So now I can confidently say that I've never worn these. Again, no offense to anybody who wears these, but in my opinion, they're way too dead of a trend. They don't really look that good to begin with in the first place. can't really tell what kind of aesthetic that you're going for. But yeah, it's time for something new. If you really want to stick to trends, I guess the baggy dad jeans are always going to be a good trend right now. Personally, I feel like I would always like my jeans to be a little bit more slim. Either way, there's a bunch of different options out there, and literally any other option out there is better than these biker jeans. So especially entering this new year, you should probably throw these out. All right, the next thing that you need to stop wearing is going to be green bomber jackets, or honestly bomber jackets in general. Honestly, I feel like as time goes on, the more and more out of style that they will become, and that's because it's another dead trend. And like I always say, if you like something, you should wear it by all means, but just know when it comes to the bomber jacket, there are plenty of better alternatives out there. Again, if you want to stick to trends, workwear jackets are going to be a good option. I have quite a few of those myself and I love them. I personally have been liking a little bit more sleek and dressed up jackets. For example, the one that I'm wearing today from Express, I love this one. And the reason why I said green bomber jacket to begin with is because this is the one that I saw the most of, probably around the same time that the biker jeans were popular. I personally think that, especially right now that it's been so long since these were popular to begin with, they're just starting to go more and more out of style. I think the most popular thing right now when it comes to fashion is sticking to certain aesthetics. So for example, that blue collar workman aesthetic is very popular, so that's why those worker jackets from Carhartt, Dickies, places like that, those are going to be good options if you want to go with that. Another big trend right now is kind of that old money preppy aesthetic, which I personally am a really big fan of. That's probably what I'm going to be wearing a lot this year. I guess bomber jackets were kind of more of a streetwear thing, but now streetwear kind of shifted into that workman aesthetic that I keep talking about. But of course, just explore your options and wear whatever you feel comfortable and confident in. That's kind of the main point of fashion. At least that's what I talk about in this channel. So by the way, if you haven't subscribed already, definitely make sure to do that right now. And there's a few things that I mentioned throughout the video, but I kind of want to talk a little bit more about. If there's trends out there that you still like, by all means, go ahead and wear it. Just make sure that you're not stuck on those old trends because you think that's what you like. That's the only thing you're gonna like. Trust me, I've been there. I stuck to one thing and I just got completely bored of it. Now I always like to try new styles, try different things that I might like. And if I don't like it, either return the item, sell it to a friend, sell it on eBay, and move on to the next thing. There are so many pieces in my wardrobe right now that I never thought that I would like, but because I tried it, I started to grow more fond of it. I hope this video did help you out, but other than that, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Later.